It is time for Angela Rayner to come clean, resign or be sacked. Her tax and electoral roll scandal deepened over the weekend, and despite the best efforts from the establishment media, this isn't going away. Here is the latest. Bombshell pictures from Angela Rayner's own Instagram profile appear to expose that she may have been lying about where she lived. She's repeatedly claimed that she lived at a property on Vicarage Road. She was registered there on the electoral roll, reportedly. When Ms Rayner re-registered the births of her two children in 2010, she gave her address as her husband's house in Lowndes Lane. This enabled her to avoid capital gains tax on the sale of the former council house, and by retaining the property for more than 5 years, she avoided having to return some of the price discount to the council. She could also have earned a 25% single occupancy discount on her council tax. Now, here are some of the devastating pictures on social media posts, all right? She posts something showing her son's bedroom. That room is then confirmed to be the loft room at Lowndes Lane, which strongly implies that her children were living at that address. There are pictures of her saying things like home sweet home and just got back from work, and photos of her like this, which appear to match estate agents' photos like this from inside that property. One of her children appears to be celebrating a birthday in the kitchen. That kitchen has the same floor tiling and chef ornament in the corner as the one in Lowndes Lane. Essentially, what Angela Rayner is asking us to believe is living at Lowndes Lane were her husband, her two teenage children with her husband, her teenage son from a previous relationship, her brother and her cats. Living at the two-bedroom property down the road, just Angela Rayner. Now, it means that Ms Rayner potentially faces a criminal conviction and a fine for a false declaration on the electoral roll. And under tax rules, married couples and civil couples can normally only count one property as their main home at any one time. So, it's an electoral roll and a tax issue. But the problem for Labour is this. It's dragged other big hitters into it. Step forward David Lammy, the man who many think will soon be our Foreign Secretary.
Look, I think there's a different arrangement and expectation for the Prime Minister than there is in this context. Okay.
A ridiculous and pathetic excuse, saying it's one rule for the Tories and another for Labour, a classic of the genre. And now here's Keir Starmer, who told our political editor Christopher Hope that he believed Ms Rayner, but Mr Forensic was refusing to actually look at the evidence himself.
She's been very clear she'll talk to any of the authorities that want more information. She's taken legal advice. My team have seen it. I have never felt the need, nor do I think it's appropriate for me personally to see it. I'm satisfied with the answers that she has given repeatedly now on this.
But you're saying she's cleared, but you haven't asked to see the actual evidence to show she is cleared.
I don't need to. It's not appropriate for me to see that legal advice.
And now here's Sir Keir again today.
Angela Rayner's been asked no end of questions about this. She's answered them all. She said she's very happy to answer any further questions from the police or from any of the authorities. I don't need to see the legal advice. My team has seen it.
That is willful blindness from Mr Forensic. Not a good look. In fact, some might think it looks a bit shifty. Here's how we really know that we're onto something, OK? We keep being told it's a non-story.
Bear in mind, all this is talking about 15 years ago when she wasn't an MP.
We're seeing personal attacks on certain individuals, and it is predominantly women, and it is predominantly politicians of colour.
If you ever catch anyone in the right-wing media saying, is this a story or not, they know it isn't.
But of course, Angela Rayner has form for two things, calling for her opponents to be sacked and saying that non-stories or witch hunts are a load of rubbish.
Boris Johnson is not only a lawbreaker but a liar. He's not fit for public office, and he's disgraced himself and continues to act like a, pound-shot Trump in the way in which he tries to discredit anybody who criticises his actions, when actually a decent public servant would have done the honourable thing, would have had a little bit of humility and would have apologised to the British public for what they put them through.
Well, it remains to be seen whether or not Angela Rayner is not only a lawbreaker but also a liar. She currently denies any and all wrongdoing. Let's get the thoughts of my panel this evening. It is Daily Express columnist Carol Malone. I've got journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth and political commentator Suzanne Evans. Carol, I'll just ask you, as Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy is defending Rayner, saying that the rules are different in opposition, OK? What do you make of this?
It is beyond outrageous to say that. It's just stupidity, and it's taken the electorate for fools, you know. And also you had Adam Bolton on there saying, you know, she wasn't an MP at the time. Well, that doesn't matter. If she's broken the law, she's an MP now, she's the Deputy Prime Minister now. And do you know what I think? You know,
not yet.
Yeah. Oh, I did say no, didn't I? Of course, she's the Deputy Prime Minister in waiting. And I think had she been upfront about it when she was first accused of it, if she'd said, yeah, this is what I did, and apologised and all this. But she's come out with all this victim smear nonsense. You know, this is the Angela Rayner who attacks like an attack dog when it's a Tory that's done something wrong. You know, when she attacked Rishi Sunak's wife, it was horrible to watch. And I heard her say last week, and she was telling Rishi Sunak she had to publish all her affairs. I heard her say last week, my personal tax affairs are my personal business. No, they're not now.
But it's not just about tax, it is fundamentally also about the electoral roll, and I think that is the thing that ultimately may bring her down. And Benjamin, those pictures are damning. You know, home sweet home, it's her there. The kids appear to be living there, don't they, really? I mean, how does she get around this?
No, this is such manufactured, pitiful nonsense.
How is it
I mean, look, the
manufactured?
fact is that what you have here is a woman who was in her mid to late 20s. She was about 27 years old at the time. She worked as a care worker, a very low-paid role, especially then.
Oh, so that's
she was
almost
8 years
everything,
before
does
she
it?
got into Parliament. And the amount of money that potentially is a discrepancy is about £1,000, which is not a lot of money in the context of a house.
This goes right to the heart of what the Labour Party is all about.
It doesn't
yes,
at all.
It does. It's hypocrisy writ large.
I'll tell you what it goes to the heart of is bully boy Bullingdon Club Tories who are trying to attack a working class woman who's made it to the top.
Her class
And
has
the
got
only
nothing to do with
reason
this.
that
This
they're
is nonsense.
obsessed with Angela Rayner is because they know what a powerful voice
Benjamin,
she is for
that's
working
tosh.
people in this
Her
country.
class has got
They
nothing
are
to do with it.
terrified of, to coin the phrase of Lord Ashcroft, the Red Queen.
Why is she terrified of just coming clean about the electoral roll? Suzanne,
Well,
what are
because
your views on
the reason she's not coming clean, if indeed this is as is being portrayed, which, let's be honest, she's innocent until proven guilty, it's because she's technically committed a criminal offence.
Yes.
So that's why we've got to be very careful here. But look, Carol's already used the H word, and it's a word I hate, hypocrisy. It's the one thing I can't stand, and this has got hypocrisy written all over it in red ink and capital letters. Benjamin, if this was a Conservative MP, you would be crawling all over this. You would be saying it was as much as £1,000.
Can I just ask, as Benjamin comes back to that, is there any way that we might be able to just revisit some of these pictures as well that Angela Rayner has posted on her own Instagram? But, you know, Benjamin, some of them are absolutely devastating.
Oh, they're not.
This is the thing.
This is pathetic.
How can you simultaneously claim, as she has done previously, that she was living as that at her main address? One of her neighbours called her an effing liar. That is what, as we understand it, one of her children in the kitchen, that kitchen there, of her then husband's house, OK, which she is saying that she did not live in as her main residence.
Look, the fact is, and this was discussed on Camilla Tominey's show at the weekend, you can choose which is your primary residence, right? And she chose
not
that
if you're
was
a
hers.
married couple.
Now,
Yes.
she only
Listen.
owned one property, and that was the property which she sold and didn't pay the capital gains on. She didn't own or have any part financially in the one that she had with her husband that she met after buying that, so there was no benefit to that. The fact is that this is what normal people do.
Why has she not produced the evidence that she says will exonerate her? She says it exists. She said she took legal advice. Not only has she not produced it, the leader of the Labour Party hasn't even read it.
And this is the
I don't
point.
think the Mail on Sunday should be dictating what the next Deputy Prime Minister does.
This is the point. I'm sorry. Mr. Forensic. Yeah? Keir Starmer. Mr. Forensic, Suzanne.
And
will
also,
not look at this. David Lammy going on the media rounds on a Sunday going, well, look, it's one rule for us and one rule for them. This cuts right to the core of the Labour
I think it does.
Party.
And this is also the thing. Keir Starmer wants to be Prime Minister. He headed up the Crown Prosecution Service, and he's saying that potential tax fraud is not a story. That is not acceptable.
If he had an ounce of morality, he would fire her now. He would, because she's maintaining this victim thing. She says nothing is true. David Lammy says she's done nothing wrong. How does he know that? Because Manchester police are investigating it.
This is absolutely absurd. From a chorus of people that sat there defending Boris Johnson at every opportunity. A man that took £265,000 of public money for legal defence after his lies in government.
This is what
But you were all silent about Boris Johnson as he abused public trust and public funds.
Well, and so was she.
Do you know what? If you want normal people in politics, then this is what it looks like. She had a background that couldn't be further from politics, and she made the kind of decisions that most people make.
What has her class got to do with anything? You keep on saying she's working class. What has her class got to do with honesty?
Because that's what terrifies the Tories. They're terrified that there is a working class woman who knows what normal life is like in this country, that has come from the absolute poorest of the poor.
What's that to do with whether or not she has love?
Working class people shouldn't be given a free pass.
OK, all right. And also, apparently, within that melee, I now have to make a slight clarification, which is, I think I'm right in saying that the police are not actually currently investigating Angela Rayner. They're reassessing whether or not they will do. So it's important to make that point. Now, a Labour spokesman said Angela and her husband mutually decided to maintain their existing residences to reflect their family circumstances, and they shared childcare responsibilities. Angela has always made clear that she also spent time at her husband's property when they had children and got married. She was perfectly entitled to do so. Angela Rayner, I will say again, denies absolutely any and all wrongdoing.